This is Daryl Prince. I know we haven't talked for a while, but we need to now. I wouldn't reach out to you and talk to you if it wasn't important, and even to a fault. Hey, what's going on? Da 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 da. No, I'm calling because there's some things that we have to talk about as American citizens, especially in election season, um, and we have to talk about what there's this massive divide between America all the time, and I feel like we end up getting wrapped up in the deeds of people far away and bearing false witness, saying things and ignoring things that we would spit on regular people for, and we're just allowing that to go on. And it points to something that I think everybody can agree on: the national conversation, how much we can trust the people that we hear to be giving us the straight truth is very little. And I do think that there is a choice between two parties in terms of their overall efforts, in terms of investment in domestic policy and how successful and sane that is. And that is usually what I vote on. But that constitutional law is being followed, not really. That global risks are being strictly well addressed, not really. And it affects your well-being and the well-being of your children and the future economic and health of your children in ways that you can't even imagine. And it is the best of times, it is the worst of times. I mean, we sit on, an ocean, a knowledge of, many people and many generations long dead, and we have far more material resources distributed more evenly to people than at any point in time in human history. But also there's still unrest, there's still wars, there's still the kinds of arbitrary things going on, and people don't trust. And we're not meeting in the ways that people used to meet. We've substituted technology where, people don't even necessarily communicate all that they need to communicate via, video. It's in person, getting to know people and getting to understand that they're good, whether they're good people or not. You make those judgments by, what you hear people say and what you know that they do. But it's hard even to track what people do or what their platform is or how it differs from the parties. It's, throwing your vote in an election is, a tangled web. Voting for lesser of two evils. And right now, I don't think anybody in this country really is super enthused that their party's, candidates is the person to transform at this point in the generation. We haven't had the conversation about artificial intelligence. We're not talking about climate change as a global risk. I mean, it's 80 degrees in October, and we've known since 1850 carbon dioxide warms the earth, and we pump between 50 and 70 pounds per American per day for 330 million Americans every single day of the year. That adds up after a while. We're definitely warming the earth, and that's crazy. If we lose the ice caps, we'll be in big trouble. So we really got to focus in on that. And we need a government that's doing that in order to get to that point. And I've been working on policies to address these things, what the next steps need to be in terms of measuring and looking for certain kinds of risks, how we would know the uncertainties in the way the planet is changing that we still can't fully measure. We're definitely in uncharted territory, but there's also great opportunity. It means we have to upgrade everything. And the proposal I have is to throw money at it, $7 trillion domestically and $9 worldwide, to get building and to distribute out something on the order of about $50 billion a state for development of technologies, contests that will be running through all of the different states simultaneously to have them develop the best technologies, the fastest times for construction, the fastest, a very simple standard but enhanced standard where, but one that any technology, as long as it can withstand the PSI and last for X number of years and is recyclable, those we can build with. And the other thing is to start redeveloping the idea of city and civic planning, monuments, mass transit, in some places where they don't have it, because we have to cut emissions. There's no other choice. Like we can't even know how bad it is or how much we have to do to fix it until we cut emissions for long enough to see if cutting emissions will do it immediately. I'm not even certain about that. But we are certain that we're warming the earth. The other thing is, in terms of things like trash, I mean, it's 4 pounds per person per day. Adds up to a ton a year, 70 tons plus per person. That's 70 tons is how much a house weighs. So, all the humans alive in America over their lifetime will throw away enough trash that we could have built 300 million homes. There's something wrong there, and then the global warming from climate change is just a byproduct of it. We're pulling out all this stuff from the environment and we're turning it all into trash. We can't keep living like that. So, not to just bring up problems, we need to focus in, we need to have a joint conversation, and hopefully we can do like a 99 Monkeys where, enough people knowing the same thing at the same time and focusing on it and then kind of jointly digesting it and then incorporating it into their own lives will make for just a magnetic group that will magnify the truth throughout whatever media or networks or whatever, hopefully. But whatever it is, keep the people who are together and working on things together and building things together and building things that work together and build a bridge between what is now and what needs to be. And we know with urgency that these things need to be done. And it's some of this stuff can be very, very simple. There's 2 agreements. One is time, which everybody has in equal measure. And if we know it's an emergency, showing up to a meeting once every 2 weeks and then kind of keeping up on a system designed to be a network of trust, like Facebook or Twitter or any of that stuff, but with sort of defined rules for conversations, like you're only supposed to be in certain conversations if you've taken the class and gotten accredited on global warming or whatever else, and then so we'll see their certifications and things like that, and everybody will have to sign in person at some point with a person who represents the organization. So it will be a network of trust. People will be real people behind all that stuff. And then the other thing is committing your living to a new standard of living, and whether you rent or own, even if the government doesn't do that, if 500,000 people say I want to live in this kind of housing, what kind of housing we can build? That kind of housing. So it's just developing those standards and putting up models, and that's the next step for me personally. I want to get to actually doing the building, so I'm practicing what I'm preaching, getting the country building, getting myself building, and trying to see where these next generation designs. But we start by, of course, looking at what's already there, the next levels. But if this sounds like something that would be interesting, now would be a good time. There's a lot more I have to tell you, but this is a good start.